Hey guys, thanks for tuning back in. Last night I finally start to take this apart and work on my son's truck again. This is the Carrera RC, Ford Raptor, 1/16 scale truck. If you guys seen my other videos, of course you've seen this thing taking a severe beating, dropping off 2.5, maybe even 3-foot jumps, going everywhere that the other RCs went. Having a little issue with it lately. I should have made the video to show you what it was doing, but when I hit the throttle, the lights would just dim, and either it would kick on and it would work real fast, and then it'd stop, and then when you hit the throttle, lights would dim and the tail lights would come on of course once you stop. So now I think I got that pretty much lined out. I ended up having to take this apart, which, let me get a close-up for you. But this is just for the back, just to take this off, so you can get that out of there. But these 2 screws up front, 2 screws here, and 2 screws in the back let you take off the canopy. So there's a little cover here. So it has 1, 2, 3 screws. Here's the little 2.4 gigahertz antenna. So I had to dig out the little on and off switch. I had to cut it because it was shorting out. It would work and then it would stop working, then you have to keep playing with it. So I just figured I'd bypass it. I had these soldered together, but then when I put it back, tried it, then it stopped working again. And then that's when it led me to taking this apart last night finally. So I took this off, I took it apart, and there was a little metal piece from when they stamped it, that didn't come out during the processing, the building, and it got wedged. I can't remember if it was inside the motor or if it was inside the teeth, but there was also another little rock inside the gears. And then my curiosity, the reason why I wanted to make this video, was when I took this plate off, which I'll take it back apart again and show you guys here in just a second. When I took this plate off for the motor right here, I fitted in, I tested it out with my WL Toys motor because I was curious and I could see the size of the motor. Whoop. This is a 380 size motor, and the only thing bad with it, if you can hear it, is that the bushing right here in the front is wore out. So this kept moving too much and kept stripping my gears. So this actually is a perfect fit for this space, other than it being long. And I think it might be just short enough to where it would get by this this piece here. Of course I didn't test it out in actual, leave it left in there and try to put it back in here. I didn't think about that. But if you see this little L shape here, how about this? You see this little part right here, it might actually be just short enough, because it's probably about like, it's like that. It looks like it might be just short enough to barely squeeze in there in this space. So if that's the case, that would be a good improvement for this, if the electronics actually completely fail. And there's actually enough room in the front, which I'm gonna buy and I'm gonna test it out, is that I might even be able to put a little one of those airplane servos in there, and might be able to get that to work and make this a hobby grade. But see, you take off the shocks and you have the plate right here. So you gotta take those 3 screws out, and then you're pretty much free other than the little wires. So then you have 3, I think, 1, 2, 3 screws on this side, and then there's 4 screws on this side that you have to take out. So it's kind of hard to show you. So here's the gears. Here's the gear case. So what they did here was, I thought was kind of neat. So they have another little hex inside this little hex. Sorry. make sure you don't do like I did. Don't get the sides confused because they're just a little bit different. So you have a hex here that this plastic sleeve goes on, and then it meets barely inside. There's another thing I got. And then look at this. So it actually has spider gears inside of this. And it's pretty nice, and that gear is really thick. So that's a really nice gear. Usually don't have too much problems, I have to worry about that. And then this gear is another nice gear. It's a little thin on the bottom, but... And then this gear is also pretty nice gear. So then you have 2 screws here and 1 for the plate. I know it's kind of hard to show you. So you have 1 screw here for the plate, and you have 2 screws for the motor. And this motor, what'd I do with it? Where'd you go? Ah, there it is. Other than this, I think it's a 12 poof. 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 A 12 tooth pinion gear is just a little too big. And obviously this gear on here is on there. You're not getting that thing off. So that's going to be the only difficult part, is to find a gear that works good on that. I actually have another gear that would fit in here good, perfectly, with this pinion, except the diameter of the hole to fit on this little shaft is not big enough. That was my only problem so far, making that happen. So unless you can get a bigger pinion gear to meet up with this, is what I was thinking, you could, if you're lucky enough, you can shave this little notch down, take this piece out, which is, of course isn't that hard. So if you're able to shave that down, and you should have enough, if you get like a big 20 tooth pinion gear. Do I have any? No, I don't think I have any pinion gears because I gave them away. Yeah, I gave them away during my trade. But that gear is almost, so I'm saying at least a 20 tooth, maybe 24 tooth pinion gear. If you can get one wide enough, it should fit, shouldn't have no issues fitting. Actually, I might be wrong. No, that's for that. I don't know. So you might have to do some custom work. But, I mean, it's worth a try. If you have a big enough pinion gear, of course, it's going to be a little bit of pain in the butt to get it to fit on the shaft if you have to take everything out. So it's really hard. I don't know how much I'm getting, how much you're seeing. So there's a gear there, and if you put it here, you can, oh, that might work. Nope, too big. So I think that might be a creative solution. Impossible. Of course, you gotta have the time, you gotta have the knowledge, and you gotta be able to buy parts and try this and that, of course. So let's see how much longer this motor is. Oh yeah, that's a little bit of size difference. So, not if you're able to see. So this thing is pretty long. Actually, I know you guys can't see. I'll see if I can try to get it. But with these front meeting, this comes exactly to the end without these stubs sticking out. So you might be able to push those inward or outwards to help get the clearance, or even bypass it by getting the motor to try to fit in there a certain way. I don't know how to. I think that's a good possibility that might work. I mean, with these ends sticking out, comes just past this. So if you're able to get these ends to come out this way and then come, might work. Don't know. Anywho, now it's time to put this back together, which is a pain in the butt. Just a little. See the other side. See the other side is just another big long shaft where it has the hex on both ends. And of course it's just another hex piece. And then just a rod to hold everything together. And if you guys are not familiar with this, I did an unboxing video of this. And if you haven't looked at it, then please go watch it. This actually has a automatic shut off, so once you leave it sitting, even without, I'm guessing, I don't know, this little on and off switch has a little computer board, so more than just the basic on and off switch. So I don't know if the timer is built in under that part or not, but it says that it has a 30-minute automatic shut-off time for this, but this shuts off in about 5 minutes. The remote control itself shuts off in about 5 minutes if you don't touch it. I have a brand new set of 65mm shocks that I had to put on that still. Oh, ho, 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 ho. I think that'll work. How cool would that be? Oh, that's a little stiff though. I don't know. Now that really makes me wonder. I gotta take this off again. I wonder if I could put the shocking upside down. Because that eye might fit on there. See? They just have this Y that just pops up in there in that space. Actually, you know, probably if you had some little 60mm shocks. Well, that's just a hair. These are pretty stiff though too. So I don't know. So maybe if you had some actually probably if you didn't want the shock oil in there and just the springs, that would probably work pretty good. So I'll just end it on that note and leave the possibilities open. Yeah, see, not much of a suspension in the front. And the back is really hard. Way more stiffer than this thing should be. Yep, that's the battery. So, need to wash my hands so I can try to solder that back together. A little antenna. Got to go in the hole, buddy. Now, I can test it.
Daddy, you check it?
Flashing light. Turn that on.
I know.
Brake light. Headlights. Matthew, why are you messing with my fan? It's hot in here. No smoke. That's a good thing. Don't feel no heat, so I guess it's fixed. Well, that's that. Little truck back up and running. Thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna finish putting all the screws in. And then see you on the next video. Bye. Peace out.